What's up, everybody? Haunted Beard here. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to give you my official ranking video of the Child's Play franchise. I just wrapped up all my reviews, and I went through this entire series reviewing all 8 movies. So if you want some more in-depth thoughts, be sure to check out my reviews for all of these. But today, I'm giving you my official ranking of all 8 movies from the Child's Play franchise. Here we go. So coming in at number 8 for me, and this is really the only one out of all these that I really don't like, and that is Seed of Chucky. And I think I'm probably in the majority on that. And look, this thing it just doesn't really work for me at all. There's not much about this at all that I really enjoyed. I don't think the humor is very good. I don't think Chucky really has any good or memorable lines. I feel like a lot of what made Bride so effective is largely missing from this. I feel like you really miss out on a lot of the kind of chemistry, if you want to call it that, the connection, just the good banter in comedy between Chucky and Tiffany that is just kind of largely missing in this movie. And the introduction of the seed of Glenda, just not a really good character, and a lot of what they do with that character is just kind of weird and cringy and awkward, and again, the humor just doesn't really land, and Chucky doesn't really even have any good kills. And Seed of Chucky tries to take a page out of the Scream book with going meta, and it just doesn't really work at all. They got a scene where Chucky runs Britney Spears off the road, and it's all really very terrible. And so, yeah, Seed of Chucky, not a fan. That's why it sits at number 8. Next up at number 7 for me is the Child's Play remake from 2019. And this one I said in my review is I'm pretty kind of middle of the road on this. This is a pretty sort of mid-tier movie, and there's some aspects about it that I think are pretty good, and other aspects of it that just don't really work all that well. And so, it's kind of a mid-tier 5 out of 10 sort of movie for me. And, I like that they tried to give this a bit of an upgrade of the story. Chucky now connects to Wi-Fi and all that. A couple of the things that I do like the kills. I really like the kill of the character of Shane. I just think I like just kind of the lighting and the visuals of that. And it's just a gnarly, cool kill when he gets his head demolished by that sort of, I don't know, gardening, lawn care, whatever type of machinery. I don't even know what it's called, but it's just a cool kill. I also like, too, that they have a little bit different of a relationship between Chucky and Andy compared to the original. And I thought that was a pretty good decision. I like how they kind of write that relationship in such a way that prevents Andy from trying to convince and tell everybody that Chucky is this killer doll, by making Chucky sort of blackmailing and framing Andy to where he's now not able to say anything. And so I think that is pretty good as well. But there is a handful of stuff in this that just doesn't really work for me. Namely, I don't really like the origin, kind of the setup of Chucky. I just really feel like the new iteration of Chucky in this version is just missing character and personality. Whereas in the original, you've got that Charles Lee Ray personality in him, and here Chucky is just a robot that's been reprogrammed. I also think the attempts at humor here don't really work all that well, and I feel like it just kind of had a hard time kind of juggling that tone, as there are scenes that are very sort of serious and dark, and then the very next scene is supposed to be kind of lighthearted, funny, comedic, and then we're back to very emotional and serious. And it just kind of didn't come together in the way that I think the filmmakers intended it to. So that is why Child's Play Remake sits towards the back at number 7. Next up for me at number 6, and this might be a bit of a hot take, but it's just my list, I gotta be honest, and number 6 for me is Curse of Chucky. And I know it sits towards the back at number 6, but I do like this movie. I think it's pretty good. There's just 5 of them that I like a little bit better. And in doing my review for this movie, this was a first-time watch for me. And a couple of things that I liked, I really like the character played by Fiona Dourif, Nika. I think she is the best non-doll character in this entire franchise. So I like her character. I think she does a really good job with it, and she's somebody that I just feel a good sort of attachment to. I think she's just a really solid character. And I think the last 20 minutes of this thing are genuinely pretty great, and I just have a lot of fun with. And while I appreciate to a degree Mancini kind of giving us a more stripped down, back to the basics Chucky story, trying to, I don't know, recover or make up for the disaster that was Seed of Chucky, so I appreciate that. But that is a little bit of what hinders this movie from moving up a few notches, in that it just feels so similar in a lot of kind of a retread on the original Child's Play. There's a lot of similar aspects to these. And I know that's really going to be the case for a lot of these movies, but this one feels very, very similar to that original movie, to where it just kind of feels like, yeah, we've sort of seen all this already. I also don't like how long it takes for us to actually get any Chucky. It's like halfway into the movie before Chucky is really like even shown and has his first lines. And so to me, it just seems like an odd choice, where you could get away with that for like the first film in the franchise, but being that we're so many films deep now at this point, I don't really see the point of prolonging that reveal, or trying to draw out the suspense of that. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like, we're watching this because we want to see Chucky. Why are you not giving him to us until halfway into the movie? And so it was just kind of, I didn't really love that choice. But like I said, I still like this. I do enjoy it. Fiona Dorff is great, and the last 20 minutes are a whole lot of fun. But as of right now, at least after a first-time watch anyway, it sits at number 6. Next up at number 5, we've got Child's Play 3. And this is the one where they kind of took things in a little bit different of a direction, where you had Andy kind of all of a sudden grow up. He's older now, a teenager, and we're no longer in sort of the apartment complex and all that stuff. He's now at military school. And so we get a new actor playing Andy Barclay, and we get a brand new location. And overall, Child's Play 3 is a pretty fun time. There are some aspects of this that aren't great. I think the kid's performance, who plays the character of Tyler, is not very good. Unfortunately, there are some kind of cheesy, corny aspects to it, just with some of the acting and the dialogue and things like that. But there is some good stuff here. I really, really like the first kill in the movie, where Chucky is kind of stalking the toy executive guy. I really like that whole sequence. I think it's really suspenseful. I just like its whole execution. It's one of my favorite kills out of this entire franchise. Again, I like kind of the new setting. I like that they changed stuff up. I think Chucky is in full-blown Chucky mode. You get some just great dialogue from him, great one-liners, and Brad Dourif is just, he's at the peak of his abilities with Chucky here. So there's just a lot of fun there. It does have some good kills. I think the finale at the carnival haunted house thing is pretty fun too. And so that is why Child's Play 3 sits at number 5. Next up at number 4, and this is, again, probably a bit of a hot take, but for me, it's Cult of Chucky. And I would imagine the majority of people probably have this towards the back of the list, and certainly have Curse ranked above Cult. But it's my list, I gotta be honest. And namely, I just liked that Don Mancini did some different stuff here. I totally understand the complaints and issues that people have with this movie, and I kind of had them too. I just didn't really care as much about it. I understand the whole thing about how now Chucky can basically just transport himself into different dolls and people with like just a few words. Yeah, it kind of takes away from everything that is built up to it. It didn't really affect my entertainment and enjoyment out of the entire, experience with the movie. I just kind of enjoyed that Mancini was just trying to throw some curveballs and do some wild, crazy new things. And I just was kind of glad that he gave us something a little bit different. I like the setting location here at the insane asylum. Again, I really like Fiona Dorff. I really like her character. You got some solid kills. I really like the kill where the girl is strapped down in bed and Chucky shoots the canister and shatters the glass and it decapitates her head. Awesome kill. I also really like the character of Michael as well. I think he's one of the better kind of supporting side characters in the franchise. I like sort of his split personality disorder. It just kind of added something unique and different that I appreciated. And so I understand, probably in the minority here. I know that there's definitely some things here that upset people and that don't really make a lot of sense or kind of undo some of the things that have been established already. And I completely acknowledge that and totally get it. I guess just for me personally, this was also a first time watch for me, by the way. And I don't have like a super intense nostalgic or personal connection to this franchise. So that's probably part of it. But some of those complaints just didn't really affect my overall enjoyment of it. And again, I just kind of liked that Mancini threw something different at the screen and tried to take a chance and just gave us some different stuff. And so that's why Cult sits at number 4. Next up at number 3 is going to be Child's Play 2. And this one I know is a lot of people's favorite, but sits at number 3 for me. But I do enjoy Child's Play 2 quite a bit, as Chucky is a little bigger, a little badder, a little meaner. And here's where we get some of our best Chucky lines and some really solid kills. The kill of Andy's teacher is fantastic, and I absolutely love it. The kill, too, later on in the movie of Grace Zabrisky's character, where she gets, like, photocopied after she gets stabbed by Chucky, is just pretty fantastic. It makes me smile and kind of laugh because it's just this, like, it's such kind of this weird but, like, demented and funny kill that I just think it's pretty great. I also like the character of Kyle here as well, who almost kind of becomes like Andy's big sister a little bit, as she is really kind of the only one who doesn't like completely write him off and blow him off when he's trying to tell people that Chucky's a real killer doll. And she doesn't like quite believe him at the beginning, and obviously it takes a little bit of time, but she still kind of, you know, treats him respectfully and cares for him and kind of turns into, like I said, like his big sister. So I think she's one of the better sporting characters in this franchise. And really, the whole reason why we watch Child's Play 2 is because of the finale, because the finale is just chef's kiss. It's awesome. I thought it was just a great idea to have the finale of this movie at the actual Chucky doll factory. And I just love how they utilize that space. I like kind of the maze through the good guy doll boxes and just the kind of the cat and mouse scenario of Chucky chasing Andy and Kyle around. And it's just great. There's some good kills along the way. As cheesy as it is, I love when the toy worker gets the set of doll's eyes implanted into his head. It's hilarious. And just the practical effects stuff here is just top-notch stuff. And the finale here is just an absolute blast. And so that is in large part why Child's Play 2 sits at number 3. Next up at number 2 is going to be Bride of Chucky. The fact that they were able to introduce a brand new doll character, Tiffany, and have her be Chucky's match, that they were able to get another one of those characters on the level of Chucky to where he didn't completely outshine this other character is pretty fantastic. And I think obviously Jennifer Tilly is to be commended. Just perfect casting. And just her character as the doll is just great. And really the main highlight and the selling point, at least for me anyway, for Bride of Chucky, is just their on-screen chemistry and relationship. And just their match made in hell, really. Their relationship of them just going back and forth and just their banter and their jokes. And just all of that is just an absolute pleasure to watch play out. And you just get some solid kills here. I love the kill of John Ritter's character is great. I love the whole sequence at like the honeymoon hotel when it rains glass on top of the two lovers. And I also love the scene when Chucky and Tiffany like finally reveal themselves to Katherine Heigl and whoever the other dude's name is. That scene right there is just hilarious to me. There's like so much craziness and insanity that happens in like 30 seconds of screen time, but it is just a joy to watch. It's pretty great stuff. The only thing that keeps this thing from being probably my favorite is that I just think it kind of peters out a little bit at the end. The ending isn't quite as satisfying as the rest of the movie, but overall, I still greatly enjoy this. I have a lot of fun. Chucky and Tiffany have never been better, and that's why Bride of Chucky is my number 2. But of course, the only thing left for my number 1 is the original Child's Play. And looking back throughout this entire franchise, I had to just ask which one would I most want to rewatch. If I had to put one of these 8 in my DVD player right now and watch it, I'd pick the original. And this is the one that I just have the most fun with overall. And there's just a handful of reasons for that. I love what they do by kind of building some of the suspense earlier on in the movie that kind of make you question, well, is there really a killer doll, or is it really Andy? There's a little bit of an element of mystery there. And so I think kind of, sort of prolonging the reveal of Chucky works here, being that this is the first film and we don't really kind of know, what we're dealing with yet, and what kind of movie it's going to be exactly. I think the scene where Chucky ultimately reveals himself to Andy's mom is just fantastic. I mean, just a classic and great scene. I love that we get Brad Dourif in person, even though it's just for a little bit, in a short bit in the beginning of this movie, but I think he just really sets up a great character and introduces us to a really great character in the flesh before ultimately becoming the doll. I also really like kind of a little bit more of the simplified story here. I like just the simple kind of apartment setting. I also like to, this has some kind of good sort of atmosphere, as the vast majority of the scenes that take place outside are in this sketchy, grungy, not very safe feeling part of town. I think that just kind of adds to it. I really like the sequence that the detective gets in, played by Chris Sarandon, where Chucky ultimately jumps out of the back seat. But I just love the sort of 80s practical effects here. I love just that this was a real car, really driving down the road, really smashing into things. They're just something of that kind of authenticity that you really only get out of movies from the pre-computer, pre-CGI days. And this movie has it. And I know that the finale here isn't as big and grand and epic as Child's Play 2, but I think just the finale, even in the little apartment, is just awesome. And again, the doll work and the practical effects here are, I think, just top notch. And they're just great. Watching Chucky just get completely dismembered and taken apart and then coming back to life and then getting killed again and then coming back to life again. It's just a whole lot of fun. I absolutely love it. It's just a really great time. And so that's my list. That's why the original sits at number 1 for me. So those are my thoughts. Please hit me up, though, down below. I would love to hear your list. Thank you so much for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Like always, hit that subscribe button. Horror and thriller movie content, that's what I do here on my channel. And I will see you next time on The Haunted Beard.